What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. We've got a lot to cover today. We had a roller coaster in the market. Now, we knew that the overall market was selling off. It was red on Thursday, red on Friday, and it was gapping down each day. So since we closed at the lows on Friday, I thought there was a good chance that today we would be opening again even lower. Sunday night, 6 p.m., S&P 500 futures showing another 1,500 point drop. So that was what we were looking at coming in here to Monday morning. When I first sat down this morning, the S&P 500 was down nearly 4%. Another 4% today, which put the overall market down about 22% off the highs. And you know what? Today is my third biggest green day of the entire year. I'm up over $59,000. How did I do it? How did I find this kind of profit on a day when the overall market is selling off? Well, here's the incredible thing about being a day trader. My account is all cash when I'm done trading. So while the overall market sells off in the afternoon or gaps down overnight because of everything going on with this economic policy with tariffs, I'm not exposed to that. I'm all cash. But then each morning I come in, and what am I looking for? I'm looking for volatility. And today we got it. Now, if you watched my game plan for the week ahead that I uploaded yesterday on Sunday, I had a couple stocks on watch. So I said AREB, BJDX, TIVC, and then side chart ICCT, ALMS, CGTL, and Ford. You want to know what stocks I trade today? I got green on BJDX, I got green on AREB, and I got green on ICCT. These were straight off the watch list. And I had a fourth stock that I traded that was unexpected. It came out with news this morning. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you guys are watching in the chat room every single day, you don't have to be left in the dust. You're now part of a community of people that are actively trading the market every single day, and you get to benefit from my real-time market commentary. Now, what you might know is that our anniversary sale here at Warrior Trading is ending tomorrow. I'll put this up on the screen share so you can see. Now, as part of this anniversary sale, if you join the Warrior Pro special right here, you get a 7-day money-back guarantee. And I'd like to present you with a little bit of challenge to trade side by side with me for the next 7 days, just for the rest of this week. And I'm telling you, we're going to see a lot of volatility in the market, and you're going to notice how all of my years of experience have created educated intuition, that I have a sense of knowing where to buy and where to sell. And I'm right more often than I'm wrong. My accuracy right now is sitting at about 70%. So out of 100 trades I take, I'm right on about 70 of them. And the losses that I have, I'm very disciplined about cutting my losses quickly. I think it's really valuable to learn from someone who not only has a long track record of experience, but is actually in the trenches every single day trading side by side with you. You don't have to do it on your own. So I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to put that out there for those of you guys that have been checking out the sale and have been hesitating on it. This is a great time to get started. And I know a lot of people think, oh, a better time to get started would be not when the market is selling off. And while it's great to start when the market is really hot and to ride that momentum, the good thing about starting when the market is cold is that it forces you to be a more disciplined trader. And if you can make money in a cold market, you'll do really well when things heat back up. So I hope you guys check out our anniversary sale here at Warrior Trading. It is ending tomorrow. So 1 day and 14 hours left on that sale. So now let's go ahead and jump onto the screen share. And I'm going to pull up my P&L so you can see where I sit. $59,510.71 right now. BJDX, biggest winner. That was straight off the watch list. JNVR, that was a little bit of a surprise. ICCT and AREB, smaller winners, green is good. So what do these stocks all have in common? So what you would notice is that these 4 companies are all American. These are American small cap companies. So, earlier in the year, and certainly last year and in prior years, there's been a lot of momentum around what kind of small caps? Chinese small caps. But with these tariffs, no. The Chinese small caps are not being focused on very much right now. In fact, the attention is shifting to domestic U.S. small cap companies. They're going to have a little bit of an advantage in this higher tariff environment. So all of a sudden, this was sort of a trend that began last week with AREB. AREB calling American patriot investors who like to drink beer to come join us to celebrate the American rebel story. That was their headline from last week. So they're really calling on some patriotism. So bring back American stocks, right? That's make American stocks great again. That's probably their slogan. Or if it's not, they should consider it, because that was kind of the angle that they were going with last week. But you know what? This thing exploded. And on Friday, as you may have seen in my recap, I was up 20,000 bucks on AREB, 21,000 to be exact. So it went from about $4 a share all the way up to over $23 per share on Friday. All right, so American company. Now BJDX, this one started a little bit of a move after hours on Friday, but I wasn't sure that it was gonna work. Truth be told, I wasn't sure. Pre-market, it pops up to 650, dips down, and then right at 7 a.m. it starts to squeeze. So let's jump onto this one first because this was the stock that I broke the ice on. It was my first trade of the day. It's what gave me my daily goal and what gave me that big cushion. So let's go back to the first trade. My best entry on this was $7.87, which was right around here, and it went up to a high of about $11.50. So not bad. Got about $2.50 per share for my best entry to the high. And that was where I made the bulk of my profit right there. As you can imagine, look at that high volume coming in as it's squeezing higher. And this is on a 5-minute candle. That's got nearly 1.7 million shares of volume in just one candle. Okay, so if we jump onto the 10-second chart, just to get really zoomed in on this thing, I'm gonna show you where I traded it. So first of all, we had a little bit of an issue, which was that coming into about 6:30, it started to squeeze. So coming up to 7 a.m., it had already popped up to $8. When I first looked at my scanner at about 6:30 a.m., I pulled it up on my phone. So those of you guys who are members of Warrior Trading, you guys know this, but as part of your membership, whether it's the Warrior Starter or the Warrior Pro, you'll have access to the following: my live day trading chat room and my broadcast, the Day Trade Dash software, and our trading simulator. So as part of that subscription, you can log into the simulator on your phone, which of course I do pretty much every morning. So I log in on my phone and I saw, oh, here we go. BJDX is already up. It's at $6.50 and it's already up over 100% on the day. So I was like, this looks great. This is exactly what I wanted to see. So I came over to my office and by the time I got here, it was had already popped up to $8, $1.50 a share. So I was like, oh man. All right, well, kind of missed that. And I sat down right here and coming into 7 a.m., I was a little worried about the possibility of selling at exactly 7 a.m. So what ends up happening is right at 7 a.m., I ended up taking my first trade right here. I jumped in at 787. It pops up to a little over 8 and I got out. So I got in, I got out, made about $900 on the first trade. It dips down here to a low of 767. It pulls back and then it comes back up for a second chance, a second shot at $8. And what did I do? I got back in. So we got a nice trade there getting back in and we squeezed immediately up to a high of, gosh, what was it on this candle? So that candle was 810. This candle was 840 and I was taking profit off. My best exit right there was about 853. So I got this nice trade here up to 840, up to 850. And then it kind of started sort of pop, topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, and you got a bigger topping tail there. So for a second, I switched over to ICCT, which had also been on my watch list. And I said, you know, ICCT, this looks interesting if it can break over this kind of level right here. So I ended up jumping in it. This was 705, right around here. And I got in, let's see, it was basically right here. I got in and I got back out. So that first trade didn't work very well, but ICCT ended up coming up again and giving me another chance at this breakout right there. And then it came up again, gave us another little trade right there. And then, was that the high? Did we get over 8? Let's see. Oh, we did get a pop over 8, but that was later at the open. So I ended up getting a couple little trades on ICCT for $1,600 of profit. And then I switched back to BJDX. So what I noticed on BJDX was, let me back this up. So we had kind of like this little squeeze here with a couple topping tails up to about 720. That was earlier. Then it came back up again. I connected these two highs right there, those trend lines. So when we squeezed up right here, I was like, I don't know, we're kind of right at this yellow trend line. So we sort of popped up to 890. We dipped back down. And I did a couple little trades in that area, but this was the next big trade right there. So let's go on to the 10-second chart. So back to the 10-second chart here. And so let me show you this. So we had these topping tails right here, as you can see. So I'm going to jump past that trade on ICCT. So I ended up getting back in this at, let's see, it was $8.67. So that would have been, let's see, it was actually on this candle right here. So it dipped down and then I got back in right here and I was looking for a retest to the high, and the high was 9. It ended up popping and going all the way up to 960, which was ridiculous. And I said, well, you know what? As long as it pulls back and it can hold 9, I'm pretty interested. So it held 9. So then I added back to this position. I took some profit off in this candle, and then I was still holding a core position. I added back right here as we started to pull away. We pop up to 950. And then little micro pullback right there, added there for the breakthrough 958, 960. We squeeze up to 970, we squeeze up to 10. Little micro pullback there, dip, added for the break of 10. We go all the way up to 11 right here. Boom, we hit a high of 11. We pull back, we pop up for a second there to 1140, and then we drop back down. So now we're pulling back a little bit more. But this was really a fantastic move. From 950 to 11, $1.50 a share. It was great. And we had really solid volume as it was moving higher. So then we pull back on the 1 minute chart and we're back below this yellow line. So now we're back below it. Did not take this trade there. MACD was negative, right? So once the MACD went negative, I was like, nah, I don't know, guys. I think I'm going to leave this alone. And it ended up selling off. And although it came back up a little bit, it wasn't able to break back over this line here, which held basically from early pre-market all the way through regular trading hours. But meanwhile, JNVR popped up. And when JNVR first popped up, I said, all right, first thing is this a U.S. company? Just confirm it. And I confirmed it's a U.S. company, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton. Where's that? For Florida. So anyways, I see it's a Florida company, and I'm like, all right, this looks good. And we get this first pop right here up to 10. And my biggest issue with this was that it was a little too expensive. So it pops up almost immediately to 11 right here. And this area was tough. So I made about $3,000 on this micro pullback. But then I added right up here and I gave back half. So that one failed. So then I was up 6,000, then I was up only 3,000. So it dips down, back above VWAP, breaks back below. Gets back above VWAP here, and I said if it can hold VWAP, we're good. It held, added back right there at 10. Then all of a sudden, we got this squeeze. Now we're ripping up to 1050, up to 11, up to 12, all the way up here to 13. Then we go up to a high of 1547. We pull back, we kind of pop up, pull back, we pop up to a new high, and then we drop back down. So I peaked at about 59,000 right here. It dips down. At the open, I got one more trade, got myself up to 62,000. And then I took a trade right in here, trying to do a dip, thinking it was not going to halt down, and I lost about $3,000. So sitting at 59,000 now, after giving back a little bit off the top, and it's still, it's unbelievable. This is so impressive. And it reminds me of AREB from Friday, where AREB just kept going. But the problem is, it is a little more expensive. So JNVR, it's a little bit more expensive, so it does carry more risk in that regard. And, being that it's more expensive, you've got bigger spreads, right? So it jumps around a little bit faster, and you can get some nasty false breakouts. So I'm a big advocate on the one hand of on a day when it's hot, digging deep and really trying to see what I can squeeze out of it. But my last hour of trading gave back $3,000, made back some of it. And I was like, you know what? It's just not happening. I've kind of stalled out. I think it's time to walk away. So if I kind of run up on a stretch where I'm just no longer making money, that's when I usually say, all right, enough's enough. So, today I thought had the potential to be my biggest green day of the entire year. And, maybe if I traded a little differently here and there, it could have been. But nonetheless, $59,000 in one day, I'm not complaining. That's a fantastic green day. And, you look at my metrics over the last, over the last 90 days, you could see that I'm very consistent. I focus on being a very consistent trader. There are times where I feel like I could take a little bit more risk and try to push it a little bit harder. But generally speaking, I'm focusing on being consistent. So in the last 90 days, I've got one red day right here. And it was a bigger red day, down 28,000. I wasn't thrilled with that. But back, generally kind of hitting this average of about, $15,000, $20,000 a day when it's been a little colder. And then today, boom, that's going to be a $59,000, $60,000 green day. So third biggest green day of the year. Second was 66,000, and the first best day of the year is 81,000. And then it's just a little bit over this day of 49,000. So it's the best day I've had in, well over a month plus of trading. And it's on a day when the overall market was basically at the lows of this drawdown. Now, the market has bounced off those lows right now, but, it's still early enough in the day that I'm not sure where things are going to close. How it's positioned right now versus how it's going to close are two different things. So I did have the S&P 500 up on another chart. I was watching it. It's obviously something I'm still paying attention to. But, for me, overall, it's just a question of looking for volatility. So I've traded through so many bear markets. I've traded through so many corrections. At this point, it's just what is the theme of this correction or bear market and where are there opportunities? Because there will be opportunities. During the pandemic, there were opportunities. Even though the overall market was dropping, there were stocks that were going up. This is always the case. So it's finding those little pockets of opportunities. Now, if you haven't checked out my episode on my proven bear market strategies, I'm going to put a link to that right here. I'll put a link to a full episode of how to start day trading in 2025 right there. And for those of you guys who haven't already checked out our memberships at Warrior Trading, come on over, check them out, and enjoy the 7-day trial. I think 7-day money-back guarantee. So it's a 7-day money-back guarantee. If it's not a good fit for you, no harm, no foul. But I think you're going to be impressed. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So a reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, and there's no guarantee you'll find success, whether you trade with me or you learn on your own. So please manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys back here. I'll be streaming 7 a.m. for members at Warrior Trading tomorrow morning.